Hi, everybody. Welcome to the wellness special segment, the services special segment of NRG Retreat with Tanvi Kapoor. Today, we have a very special participant, and we are going to be talking about how to get started with yoga, how to balance your body and mind with yoga. Can yoga really help you to lose the excess weight that you feel on your body? Do you need to be flexible to do yoga? The different levels of yoga. And for all this today, we have the expert with us, Sonal Quatra Paladine.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the show. It is such a pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Thank
And
you,
so,
Tanvi.
my pleasure, Sonal. So, for all of you, Sonal is a yoga teacher as well as a travel content creator from India, currently living in Germany. Sonal has basically made yoga a part of her life since a very long time. However, she has recently started a different type of yoga known as Vinyasa Yoga. So, Sonal, please tell us about Vinyasa Yoga. You were also trained in Hatha Yoga and various other forms of yoga, and you have added Vinyasa Yoga as another feather in your cap. Sonal was also teaching in a yoga studio in Germany prior to the corona lockdown. So today she's going to be sharing everything about yoga, its benefits, and how we can start this and make it a part of our life. So Sonal, please give us a brief introduction and please feel free to add a little more about yourself
Yeah.
and then let's start with the episode.
Wow, Tanvi, that was such a nice introduction. So, hi everybody. I'm Sonal Quatra Paladini, and I'm living in Germany. And Tanvi did mention that I am now a yoga teacher. So, I actually worked as a human resources manager for 10 years. Then I gave it up because I really wanted to travel the world. And I worked as a travel content creator, and somehow yoga was always a part of my life. Um, I mean, I believe most of you will understand, being Indians, yoga is a part of our culture. In the morning, when we go for a walk in the park, we normally see a bunch of people doing yoga, pranayam, etc. So it is inherently a part of our culture as Indians. So yoga was a part of my life, but it somehow became a daily addiction. And decided that I wanted to do a yoga teachers training course, and it just everything happened so fast, and I started teaching yoga in a studio here in Germany. But unfortunately there's a lockdown happening, so I can't teach anymore, although I plan to do online classes from February 1st. And to answer the second question, Tanvi did mention that I've started doing vinyasa yoga. So vinyasa yoga and hatha yoga, I mean, normally essentially what we learn in India as kids in school, or what we see people do in parks or different yoga studios, is basically hatha yoga. But vinyasa yoga is something where you coordinate breath and movement, so you flow into one asana to another really quickly. So an example would be ashtang vinyasa yoga. It's really popular in um, I would say Europe and the rest of the world as compared to India, because in India, a lot of people think that yoga is for old people, or yoga is for women, or yoga is for people who want to just maintain a particular body weight. But when you do Ashtanga yoga, it requires a lot of other skills also, like, handstands, etc. So that is really high level yoga. And essentially vinyasa yoga is one where you move from one asana to another, and it's a lot to do with transition, and how you change your asana from inhale to one and then exhale. um, I would say if you guys know how to do surya namaskar, that also is a in a way is a short vinyasa flow.
Great. Thanks for the introduction, Sonal. And now, like there's been a lockdown happening in the entire world. And even though the lockdown is not, the way we all started, where initially all of us were just homebound, there is movement. We are stepping out and doing so much more, but we're still restricting a lot of the things that we were doing. For example, probably, going to a public park for a regular walk every day or in the evening, or going to the gym, or doing spinning classes. A lot of people go for dance classes and stuff like that, which is also a form of exercise. But now, with there being restrictions in our daily lives concerning these various forms of exercise and entertainment, like a lot of people, I think it is a good time to for those people who are not into yoga to actually start. So tell me something about yoga for beginners.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. This is the perfect time to start yoga at home. And you don't really need anything. If you just want to get into yoga, just get yourself a comfortable yoga mat. You don't need anything fancy, and it should not be too cushiony. You should be able to kind of feel the hardness of the ground, but the mat should be soft enough so that you don't hurt your knees when you when you rest on your knees or when you kneel on the ground. And to start off, you should just focus on 5 or 6 basic asanas. I would say these asanas, focus on the asanas that are in the sun salutations. Honestly, there are so many different types of sun salutations, but I'm talking about the most basic sun salutations that as Indians we really know. In fact, those, if you want to check on Google, you can just Google Sivananda style sun salutations. So just focus on a very basic forward bending pose, the downward dog position, the cobra position. Cobra is a back bending posture, and it's a very beginner level posture that can strengthen your spine muscles. So that's how you can get into yoga. Just focus on 5 or 6 postures that are in the sun salutation series, and then build on from there.
Great. Thank you for sharing this, Sonu. Could you just repeat where people can go online again? I'm just going to put it down in the comment box so that as and when people see this video or they hear it on live stream, they're able to see the exact information that they can type in order to get on the right platform and see the right asanas.
Sure. On YouTube, if they just look for Shivananda style yoga sun salutations, so I'm going to just send you a message also so that you have it with you.
Shivananda style
salutations, Surya Namaskar.
Okay.
Yeah. Or traditional sun salutations.
Okay.
So
right.
It has basically a very important posture called the Ashtanga Namaskar. Because if people do the other versions of sun salutation that has something like a push-up, which is not beginner friendly. So
right.
The main difference is it has Ashtanga Namaskar instead of the push-up.
Okay. And so are all these in terms of beginners, can they be of any age group? Can they be does it need to be under supervision of a teacher, or can you just perhaps start on your own initially, looking at a YouTube video or what you see online? Is it safe for all age groups to look at it online and start, or do you think it's better to kind of start under supervision?
I would say it's always better for everybody to start under supervision, but because we don't have an option right now, I would recommend that you, if you go on YouTube, then be very careful of whose channel are you watching. Is it a famous YouTuber, or is it just a new person, or just a teacher who's not really certified? So be very careful, because there's a lot of false information on the internet. And focus on alignment. A good yoga teacher on YouTube will really share alignment cues that your wrists, your shoulders need to be directly above your wrist, and you need to take these alignment cues really seriously. Otherwise, you can injure your wrists, you can injure your elbows, your knees, and it's going to take a while to heal then.
Yeah, and correctly, as Sonal said, that like so many of us, especially right now, because of the because of being at home, we're always on our phone and we're checking out new asanas or perhaps new yoga exercises, etc. online on YouTube, Instagram, and we don't realize that we guys are not professionals, and probably somebody who's a professional can do so much more. So
Yeah.
you need to like really listen to your body, and as per what your body can comfortably go through. I think you need to select like what you can do,
Yeah.
and till the time that you don't have anybody who's a professional supervising. So please like really follow what you can do as per your own body. I think everybody has an individual capacity and flexibility. So as per that, please decide for yourselves as to what is good for you. Now, Sonal, tell me about the breathing exercises in yoga, and how they can like really benefit your, lungs and different parts of your body. There's been so much. We've been talking so much about the importance of breathing during the pandemic, and various breath exercises, and various, the importance of breath work. So, does yoga really look into this aspect of well being as well?
This is the most important part of yoga. So I really love this question. So um, pranayama, as some of you would have heard the term, it comes from two parts actually. Prana um, means, it has so many meanings, but the main meaning is life force. For
Right.
example, you must have heard of the word chi. That is also chi or shi in Chinese medicine. So it's pretty much a similar concept. It's the life force within you. It could also be the energy, the magnetic force, the cosmic energy. It's pretty universal, but it could also be the energy that you have within you. And pranayama is basically how you extend that energy with the power of breath. And honestly, pranayama, in actually Hatha Yoga Pradipika, one of the oldest yoga books, um, pranayama is kumbhaka. Kumbhaka means the retention of breath. So a lot of people, when they were studying, a lot of ancient rishis, when they were studying different breathing patterns, they would notice that certain animals who were breathing slow had a longer lifespan. For example, turtles and tortoise, they breathe really slow and they live really long. And the animals that breathe really fast, they have a
Yeah.
shorter lifespan. Honestly, people, if somebody hears it in 21st century, would find this concept pretty funny. But we never know if there is a scientific backup of this or not. But it is believed in yoga, when you breathe slow, your body is more healthy. So the power of pranayama is basically in how you retain your breath. So a lot of us, we breathe really shallow. We don't breathe deeply enough. So it's like um, the main thing, what we talk about in yoga, is when you breathe, take a really deep inhale and let it sit inside. That is called kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is when you retain your inhale and then you let it out in even a longer count. So if you want to do a very basic exercise, which I really benefited from, it is the most beginner friendly pranayama that I've learned. In fact, it's how you can really elongate your breath. It's just a basic simple yogic breath. So
Okay.
when you breathe in, you in your head you count till 3, and then you hold your breath, count till 3, exhale, count till 3, and then you can keep increasing it till the time you reach 5, or whichever number is comfortable for you. And then over time, you would see in the next months, you would see that you're able to take a longer inhale till 10, or hold it for even a longer period of time.
Great. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the way that you said that, like breath work, through the power of breathing and breath work, you can actually extend your energy. I
Yeah.
think that is so vital. And especially like there's been so much stress. There, even otherwise, people, had their daily stress in life, but especially because of the pandemic and what it's brought along with it, there's been such a transformation in people's lives that I think, like really making breath work a part of your life on a daily basis can be so beneficial in
Yes.
relaxing you, in calming you down. So now let's do one exercise, breathing exercise
Yeah.
right now on the live stream, and let's just give people a feeler of what this is like for those who are not very familiar with breath work,
Yes.
and as to what it's like. So what should we do?
So we can do Anulom Vilom or Nadi Shodhana, which is one of the most popular pranayamas in India at the moment, because if you go in any park or everybody knows about it, I would say thanks to Baba Ramdev. And it is good, it works, and it makes you feel really energized. So there are two ways of doing it. You can hold your right hand in front of you and your thumb and these two fingers. Otherwise, some people put this on their third eye. Another school of thought is that, you know, you just keep it folded. I would keep it here because
Okay.
that's better. And then you always start closing the right nostril and start
Okay.
from the left one. Okay, so we can start together.
Okay, so what do you do? Like you put your hand here, like you put two fingers here, your
Yeah.
forefinger and the middle finger, and then you then what comes next?
Close your right nostril with your right thumb.
Right, and then you inhale from the left nostril, right?
Yes, inhale
Okay.
from the left. So
Okay.
this also has many versions. In some of the versions, you inhale and then hold and exhale. But today we're going to be doing the simplest, the most basic one, where we inhale from this and then close this, exhale from this, from the right. And then
Sure.
we inhale from the right and exhale from the left. So I'm going to be cueing this as we do this. So are you
Yeah,
ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
So just to repeat, hold your right nostril with your thumb and put your index finger and your middle finger on your third eye.
Okay, so I'm holding my right nostril with my right thumb.
Yeah.
Okay, and then yes.
And then
You have to do like this. Yes.
your ring finger on your left nostril. Okay.
Okay.
Don't cover your left nostril, but breathe in from your left nostril. Now close your left nostril. Breathe out from your right nostril.
So I closed my left nostril with my ring finger and
Yes.
my pinky finger, and then I breathe out from my right nostril. Okay, so I think this
Yes.
would be clear, right?
And now
Okay.
breathe in from your right nostril. Close your right nostril and breathe out from your left nostril. Now breathe in from your left nostril. Hold your left nostril and breathe out from your right nostril. So this is a very shorter version of Nadi Shodhana that we've done. And I would just recommend people to hold the breath inside for as long as they can. For as long as it's comfortable. The whole thing about yoga is that you are not pushing your edge, but you're facing your edge, you're meeting your edge. So it should be comfortable, but it should not get uncomfortable.
Sure. Like initially, like when I used to be, exercising and I had my trainer come home, we would do a little bit of power yoga and then we would do pranayam. And, I think another word for this particular exercise is also anulom vilom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So this is what, but now, like I haven't, actually, I can't even blame it on the lockdown because this is something that you can do at home, but I haven't been doing it. But what I just realized is that because I'm out of practice with breath work, I'm not
Yeah.
able to hold my breath for as long as I could initially, probably like a year back when I
Yeah.
was more regular. So as Sonal correctly said that initially, if you guys are going to be starting with breath work, don't be very, focused on how long you can hold your breath because that is something that will come very gradually with time and with practice. But
Yeah.
what really is essential is to start, right? To
Exactly.
start at whatever level is comfortable for you. So thank you so much, Sonal, for that demonstration and showing us how to do this.
Yeah.
And now tell me something. A lot of people have this concern that does our body need to be flexible from before? When we make yoga a part of our life, or even if you've got like a very stiff body, and you've not been exercising or you're not familiar with breath work, can you still start with yoga? So what's your take on that?
So definitely, that's a really good question. A lot of people actually tell me that, oh, I cannot do yoga because I'm not as flexible as you. But here's the thing, yoga makes a person flexible and yoga makes a person strong. So yoga doesn't really focus on only flexibility. Yoga is always a balance between strength and flexibility, because it's very wrong if you just focus on flexibility, then your joints are not super healthy. You need to build the muscle that's holding your joints. The more important thing is working on mobility, and that comes with a combination of strength and flexibility together. So you don't need to be flexible to start yoga, but yes, you need to be very careful that when you start yoga, you need to do a decent warm up for all your joints. You need to just spend like maybe 10 minutes moving your wrists around. And in fact, I still do wrist warm ups. I've been doing yoga for so many years. I always start with wrist warm up. So you need to just take a few moments and then do warm up your wrists, warm up your spine with cat and cow. Most of the people who've done yoga, they know what a cat and cow is. It's a super funny name, but it's really good. It's a very good warm up for the spine.
So, what
And
is a cat and cow? Can you tell people like what is a cat and cow? Is it possible to explain that to them right now?
sure, definitely. So on a yoga mat, when you're in a tabletop position, by tabletop position, I mean that your your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. So in a proper tabletop position,
So
you
you're
can do
basically on like typically what you would say on your fours, right?
exactly on your hands and knees. So a cow position is a slight back bend. So when you inhale, make a small back bend, your neck goes up and your butt also goes up, and your stomach kind of goes down. So your backbone makes a C. And exhale, it's a power position. It's more like a forward bend, but you're not really bending forward, except the area between your shoulder blades is lifting up. It's
So people look it up on YouTube and see, it'll probably help you to understand what Sonal's trying to explain better.
yeah.
And now, Sonal, let's talk about. Okay, so we start yoga according to our body flexibility and see how much we can go to, start with and then progress further, so on, depending on our flexibility and body comfort. Now, tell me, yoga is like you said, it's a balance between strength and flexibility. But
Yeah.
let's talk about also yoga for like senior citizens. So if you're like in your late 50s, early 60s, or even in your 70s, what kind of yoga can you start with? Should you start just with pranayam and avoid exercising initially, or can you also do both alongside?
So always start with pranayama, but after that, like maybe do 5-10 minutes of pranayama, but then after that, do something for your joints, because it is so important to take care of your joints. So as I mentioned in the warm up, that you need to do a little bit of warm up for your joints. So you can, after pranayama, do a little bit of joint rotation, neck rotation, ankle rotation. You get the idea. Cat and cow.
Right. So neck rotation would be something where you're just like rotating your neck,
Clockwise.
stuff like this, right?
Right.
Clockwise and anti-clockwise. So that'll kind of, like just open up your body in parts that, it's kind of, just locked up because of lack of movement in a very long time. So whether it's like tilting your head or like just like, rotating your neck, clockwise, anti-clockwise, shrugging your shoulders, doing like the wrist clockwise and then doing it anti-clockwise. So these are like basic things that we can start with, right? What else can we add to the basic stuff?
So basically, just stand and do a little bit of forward fold. And now I mentioned forward fold. I would really like to mention that when you're doing forward fold as a beginner, make sure your knees are bent. A way you can really injure your spine, your lower back, is when you do a forward fold and your knees are not bent, because you say, "Oh, look, I'm so flexible. I can touch my hands on the ground," but then your
Right.
back is in a curve, and then you really hurt your lower back. You may not feel it on that same day, but then it's not worth it. But when you do forward fold as a beginner or as a senior citizen, then make sure your knees are bent. You should feel a connection between your thighs and your stomach, no matter how much your knees are bent. You could also be in kind of like a squat position. So that's a basic level half squat forward fold. That's also a very good way to do a forward fold. So you can do a sitting forward fold or a standing forward fold, whichever works. In sitting, at least you can put a cushion under your knees and turn it into a very relaxing yin yoga posture. Or you can do, after forward fold, make sure you do a simple back bend. Now people think that back bends are for intermediate level yoga postures. Not really. You can do a basic sphinx pose. In fact, for a sphinx pose, you need to just lie down on your stomach, rest your elbows right directly in front of your shoulders, and look up. It's like, you can also watch TV in this position. It's a simple, the easiest back bend you can do, but do not underestimate the power of even the simple back bends, because back bends are really important. So we have the forward fold, we have the back bend. Cat and cow is really good for the spine, and also in cat and cow, in the cat position, it's good for the stomach, because you're
You're working on your the core of your stomach, right?
exactly, the core of your stomach. And if you can take it further, you should always do twists. There are sitting twists. You can sit cross-legged. In Hindi, we call it chokri. Or you can sit in the lotus position and you can just do gentle twists. Always twist to the right first and look behind your right shoulder, and then twist to the left, look behind your left shoulder. So twisting is something that I would recommend for everybody to do every day. And
How often can you do it? Like how many times? Like how many repetitions? And like can you do it? Do you need to? I guess you would need to do it like either first thing in the morning or at least give like a 1 hour gap between your meals if you do any kind of regular twisting also.
2 hour gap, because in my yoga school they actually taught us that if you've just eaten lunch or dinner, give it, like, in fact nobody does yoga after dinner, but if you've just eaten
Yeah.
breakfast or lunch, give it 2 hours. There should be a 2 hour gap to be safe.
Okay. Okay.
This
I have a question.
impact, sorry,
No,
our
tell me
digestive
what you were saying.
system, directly impact our digestive system. So you cannot just interfere with that with just but make sure you twist every day. It's a very good exercise.
Sure. And tell me, I have a question from Mrs. Shuchi Kapoor. She's asking, what is a good speed for Anulom Vilom?
So in your head, to start with, you make a ratio of 3:2:3. So inhale 3, retain for 2, then exhale for 3. So that is just
Okay.
something that you can do to begin with.
3,
Otherwise,
2, 2. Okay.
yeah, otherwise you can keep increasing at a later stage.
All right, great. And I have a question from Mrs. Nirja Chandar Mohan. She's asking if clapping is a part of yoga and if that's good.
So
Clapping.
I've seen a lot of people do it. I am not sure if it helps, but I mean, if it makes you feel good, then why not? I've seen a lot of people who do this in the parks. They clap, and specifically they open their hands completely, and a
Fingers
lot
are wide apart when they clap.
exactly. And I can only say this kind of movement is definitely good for the hands, because this is something I do as a warm up. But I do not clap, but I open my hand and completely open the fingers. So I don't see any harm of doing it. But I mean, obviously, when the palms are touching, there is energy, and it can only be good. But I personally don't do it, and I don't know about
Okay,
this.
so you're saying one can like open your hand like this and stretch the fingers?
Exactly. So this is the warm up I do before I start yoga. I open my hand fully, as much as I can, and I gently, as I inhale, I protect my knuckle. I hold the knuckle, I support it with my fingers, and I push it slightly, pull it towards myself. So it's just a basic stretch I do for my fingers, etc.
Sure. Or you could also do it this way where you're like just holding your
Yeah.
hand, while it's open, and then just gently, just like pressing on your fingers. If you don't want to do it like one by one, you can just
Yes.
press it this way. So that is also a kind of a stretch that you can do, and you can feel it all the way up till your, arm, right at the top of your arm.
For the forearms, and it's beneficial because I'd like to mention that I had carpal tunnel syndrome during
Oh,
my pregnancy. So
okay.
carpal tunnel is something to do with the nerve. There's a nerve that connects the fingers, specifically these fingers, and you start to feel it in this and this, and then it spreads. So I wasn't even able to use a computer, etc. It was that bad. But I would say it's a lot to do with dietary changes and wrist specific yoga moves that help me. So women tend to have it a lot because we have thinner wrists and we don't really have a lot of wrist muscle. So please protect your wrist. Do a bit of wrist exercises, not just for the joint but also build muscle.
Sure. And like Sonal, you were mentioning that you went through this sorry, how do you pronounce it?
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. And your baby must be how many months old right now? Close to a year, maybe? Or
2 years.
okay, 2 years. Okay, so it's that with the help of yoga, you have been able to, come out of that and get back to your normal routine like really fast. Like, how fast were you able to come out of whatever your symptoms were post your pregnancy? In fact, let's talk about yoga after pregnancy, after understanding how long it took you to come out of, the syndrome that you went through before
Sure.
childbirth. Yeah.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, I would say for me took, I had it for at least 3 months.
Okay.
Um, and after 3 months, I mean, when I noticed that I have something like this and I got to know that this is called a carpal tunnel syndrome. Before that, I never really had much of a problem, but this, you need to understand, arises from shoulder, elbow, and because everything is connected, all the joints. We need to think of the body as a whole. So I actually didn't just do wrist exercises, but a lot of shoulder exercises. The idea is to lubricate our joints, because when you have a desk job and when you spend a lot of time in front of your phone, etc., you tend to sit like this. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
your shoulder and neck, and I mean, you're lucky if you don't have any problems. If you don't, or if you do, you really need to take care of your upper back, your shoulders, etc. And I was able to take care of it in total 6 months time.
That's fantastic. In fact, we have a relevant and related question from Priyanka Mithal Chandra. She's
Yeah.
asking any recommendations for shoulder exercises for people sitting for longer periods in front of the computer. So, just what you were addressing right now.
Definitely. Oh my God, I love shoulder exercises. I do them every day. So specifically for people who sit in front of the computer, who sit like this, there's a pose called puppy pose.
Okay.
So you're on your all fours, except you keep walking from all fours. You keep walking your hands a little forward till the time your head is resting on the ground.
So, Sonal, can we do something like once the live stream is over, can you put up a couple of pictures, of
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
of yourself, like probably, in the cat and dog posture that we were talking about, and a couple of, the posture that you're talking about right now for the shoulder exercise, so that
Yeah,
people who are on this live stream and people who see it later are able to see the images that'll give them a lot more clarity.
definitely.
So,
I'll
Priyanka, do stay, do go through this live stream in terms of the messages and images that are shared in the comment section. So that'll also give you more clarity post the live stream. Yeah, Sonal, on to you.
Yeah, so you were also asking about yoga after childbirth, etc. So to women, I would just say that after you deliver the baby, please take 2 months and like don't do anything for 2 months. When your doctor says after 2 months that yes, you can start yoga, it's actually quite good to start yoga, because one of the main things in yoga is bandhas. Bandhas are locks. So one of the locks that yoga focuses on, I mean, there are total three locks, and the final lock is a combination of all three locks. One of the locks that we talk about in yoga is the stomach lock, belly lock, and the other is the root lock, which is basically your pelvic floor muscle. So when you do this, you are strengthening your pelvic floor muscle and your stomach clock, your ab block. So the traditional term for this is Mool Bandha. Mool is the pelvic floor muscle, and Udiyan Bandha, that is the ab block. So these basically, when the idea is only to build awareness. When you start building an awareness for these muscles, and then you start working these muscles, everything pretty much falls in the place. I mean, this is how you move from basic level yoga to intermediate yoga. But then it's just simple as these two locks. When you focus on these two locks, when you inhale and exhale and clench these muscles and build awareness, it's very good, because if you in Germany, after childbirth, they do pelvic floor muscle training, but then that's a part of yoga. So yoga can really take care of you after childbirth. Just focus on the bandha exercises.
Great. So, Sonal, I'm sharing the link that you shared with me. Is that specifically for Priyanka's question, or
Yes,
is that
yes,
okay? So, Priyanka,
yes.
I'm just sharing a link below your thumbs up sign, and you can take a look at it. And it's also for everybody else who will get to see various other asanas that Sonal posts on her account every day. And for those of you who aren't on Instagram, Sonal will also be posting pictures later, depending on whatever questions we're addressing. She will be posting certain pictures on the
Yeah.
live stream comment section. Great, Sonal. So tell me about. We've spoken now also about yoga after childbirth and how that can help you. Let's talk about prenatal yoga.
Yeah.
So, what are the benefits of prenatal yoga? And like especially for women who've not really been into yoga, to start prenatal yoga for the first time, like what is it like? I mean, do you have clients who come to you for prenatal yoga? What is it like? What do women go through? Is it easy? Is it something that they're able to adapt to easily?
Okay, so women love prenatal yoga. In fact, a lot of women start yoga. I mean, a lot of women who I know, they never did yoga, but then they start yoga is because they got pregnant, and then they started with yoga, and then after childbirth they continued with yoga to shed some extra pounds. So this really helps. Basically, prenatal yoga focuses a lot on breathing. The first breathing exercise I talked about, where you're extending your breath, because in when you're in labor, you need to know how to breathe slow, because that's how you can relax your entire body. And a lot of prenatal yoga focuses on lightweight stretching, and a little bit of work for the joints, so that you take care of your body. You don't your joints have strong muscles around them, and then you reduce your injury as your stomach expands, because body really changes. Imagine when you're in your last trimester of the pregnancy, when the baby is there, believe it or not, your organs move up, and after childbirth your organs gradually move down. So it's how you take care of your body. You really need to take care of your body during pregnancy and after childbirth.
Sure. So,
So
and the best part I think about our body is that it is, it is so flexible. It adapts so easily, right?
exactly.
And like I was mentioning earlier on in the live stream, that in the last 1 month, when I've been a little careless with my exercises and with my, yoga and other forms of exercise, my body has become like far more stiff. Like now I'm getting back to it gradually,
Yeah.
but in a matter of days, literally your body starts opening up. That's how flexible it
Right.
is. So even if you've had like a 9 month 10 month gap, or if you've never done it before, I think, my barring the minor hiccups of say a
Yeah.
week or so, your body will gradually start adapting. So that is
That's
how flexible your body is, essentially. So
that's
I think it's really like a mental block
yeah.
that so many people have, that they feel that the body is really stiff, that maybe yoga may not be ideal for them. But I think, like any other form of exercise, within a week or so your body automatically starts adapting, right, Sonal?
Yes, that's true. In fact, uh, it's absolutely spot on, because normally people give up in the first week, because it feels challenging in the first week. But then after the first week, your body feels really good, and trust me, it is something that is going to be your daily addiction, because it's something that will make you feel really good. And please remember, the key is consistency. um, to see benefits from yoga, you can't just do it one day and then next day and then another, once a week or something. You have to do it every day, or at least 4 5 times a week, to notice any change or benefits.
And I think yoga is something, especially breath work, that comes so naturally to us. Like if you're feeling stress,
Yeah.
or if you see anybody in your family or your friend feeling stressed, the first thing that we do is like we heave a sigh of like relief when we're
Yeah.
tired or when anxious with stress. Like it's like I've had like a difficult day, or I've had like this thing that's bothering me. So the first thing that you really do is take a deep breath. So that
Yeah.
is how pranayama or breathing or breath work comes so naturally to us. Or when you
Yeah.
wake up in the morning, or you've been sitting on a chair, if you have a desk job, the first thing that you want to get up and do is like stretch your arms or like tilt your body. So that
Yeah.
is how naturally yoga comes to you. So it's not
Exactly.
like it's not something which is very far fetched. It's something that we actually do in our daily lives, but we can just improvise it by adding more asanas and more
Exactly.
postures in our daily life to improve the flexibility
Yeah.
of our body, and make it more feel more healthy inside out. I think that's what this is really about. It's not truly, I mean, of course there are people who get into yoga for toning up their body and like losing weight, who will feel that they have excess pounds, but essentially it's about feeling good inside, right?
Exactly.
And just feeling healthy within. So I think that is what the crux of all of this is, Sonal, right? So tell me what your feeling is about, daily tips that you can give to people who are going to be now starting yoga after this video. Even if it's like, 5 minutes of breath work a day and 5 minutes of breath work in the evening, or like just like the basic stretches we spoke about, Anulom Vilom. Any tips that you have for people before we conclude this live stream?
Definitely. So, just to add to this, as you mentioned, it's not just about losing weight, etc. So the whole idea is balancing it out. So just remember, yoga is going to balance everything out. It's not going to make you fat or thin, but then it's going to balance everything. Your energies, your feminine and masculine energies, and just positive, negative, everything. So in Ayurveda, it's called Ida and Pingla.
Sorry.
um, in Ayurveda, it is we have two nadis, Ida and Pingla. So the whole point of yoga is to balance the energies, the sun and moon energies, etc. So now to address the question about how my tips for people who are just starting out, please set aside a time for yourself. Um, Tell your family and your friends not to disturb you during that time. Set aside space for yourself. And even if you have a kid around, if you have a toddler around, it's okay. You can still make yoga part of your daily life. You can maybe choose a time when your toddler is sleeping, taking an afternoon nap, and or you can wake up before everyone else does. Set aside a time and make sure you stick to it. Be consistent, do it every day. Start with breathing work. The idea is that you have to be able to enjoy it. Once you enjoy it, start with lightweight sun salutations. So look up on the internet, look for basic traditional sun salutations. Start with that, and for a week or so, only do sun salutations, and then start adding more. See if you what you like in the sun salutation. If you like the forward bend or backward bend, start adding more and more asanas to your yoga time, and that really works. And don't skip shavasana. Shavasana is something that we do at the end of yoga. It's called the corpse pose. You just lie and let your body absorb all the energy and just heal. So that's the thing that you need the most.
So that is, guys, when you're just lying down, like you lie down flat on a bed looking at the ceiling,
Yeah.
completely relaxed. That's like the shavasana. And
With
again, like,
eyes closed.
sorry.
With eyes closed.
Yeah, with eyes closed. Like, do not be on your mobile, while you're like in the shavasana with your mobile like that. That doesn't count. So, like Sonal said, that please take out like time which you're dedicating to like your breath work, or while you're doing yoga. Like try not to be on any form of you know um, any call or like messaging or whatsapping, or on like having something that you're doing, like for example you're trying to do breath work but you have the newspaper in front of you. Because the idea is also to like relax your body completely, so it can like really benefit holistically from the entire process of breath work. Like Sonal said that really it's about increasing the energy, the life force that you feel. And in order to feel that, you need to like completely relax your body, your mind, your soul. So everything else can wait for that period, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however long you would like to dedicate to it. And I have one more question, two more questions actually. So I have a question from Mrs. Nija Chandan Mohan, and she's asking, can bhamri be done with eyes open?
I would say do Bhamri with eyes closed. I do not see a point of opening the eyes. Bhamri is a really good pranayama.
Okay, okay. And so what are the benefits of bhamri? It's basically
It's very relaxing. It's a cooling breath. Yeah.
okay. So with eyes closed,
Yeah.
and I have another question from Mrs. Shuchi Kapoor. Is Surya Namaskar safe for a sensitive back?
So Surya Namaskar is definitely safe for sensitive back, but it depends on if you are doing it correctly. Like as I mentioned before, a lot of people do forward bend in a very wrong way. So for just make sure you don't when you are bending forward, your knees are and your knees are a little bit bent, so don't just try to touch the floor, just bend slightly forward. But Surya Namaskar is really good because it is overall going to strengthen your back muscles if done correctly. And even Surya Namaskar has cobra, and in other versions it has the upward facing dog. So it is definitely really good for the spine. But please, when you open a video on YouTube, make sure you open a video that is that is by a known YouTuber who gives correct cues. So you need to really listen to the cues and do these forward and backward bending poses correctly.
So then also, are there different forms of Surya Namaskar? Because if there's a basic Surya Namaskar, then I think that is something that even people with a sensitive back, I have a sensitive back as well. So people with a sensitive back or with other back issues can
Yeah.
perhaps start with that and then go on to like the full-fledged Surya Namaskar, if they're permitted to do so after consulting, I would say, like a professional, right? So
Yeah.
can they start with something basic? Are there different levels of Surya Namaskar, or is it just like the one traditional Surya Namaskar,
So
which is also called as a full body workout, or are there different levels of Surya Namaskar as well?
exactly. So it is a total body workout, and that is the easiest. That is the most. I should not say easiest, but that is the most simple form of Surya Namaskar. I know some people they shorten it by saying baby Surya Namaskar. They only include the first three steps of putting the arms front and then Namaste, but that's it. That's I would not call it a sun salutation. So the entire sun salutation, even if you have a sensitive spine, etc., it is only going to benefit, you're only going to benefit from it if you do it correctly. Obviously there are other forms of Surya Namaskars where there is there's sun salutation A, sun salutation B, with where there is a push up. There is Bikram yoga sun salutation, that's a little different. So there's so many, but focus on Sivananda style traditional sun salutation. It is beginner friendly.
All right, great. And I have mentioned that in the comment section as well. So everybody can look that up and try it out, the Sivananda form of yoga and sun salutation.
Yeah.
Shivananda style yoga sun salutations. However, guys, again, like Sonal is saying, posture is the key element in yoga. So
Yeah.
please be sure to have the right posture so that you don't injure your body while doing anything. And
And
if you
one last thing I want to add, if you have a sensitive spine, remember the backward bend comes from your upper back. We all have flexible lower back, but don't start your backward bend from the lower back in Cobra. It starts from the upper back. Just keep this in mind. It's difficult to do it, but it's easier to know about this, but then try to do it consciously and it helps.
Thank you so much for all your tips and really making us more aware about yoga, about breath work, its benefits, and really the very fact that yoga is actually not age specific and it's for everybody.
Yeah.
And it really help us to feel better inside out, both yoga and breath work, and really just feel more healthy, right? For
Definitely.
everybody who wants to stay tuned with Sonal, her Instagram handle is Sonal Paladini.
Yeah.
Um, it's also mentioned right here on the live stream. The spellings will be the same. And Sonal is also, been very, very big in the travel. Um, on the travel scene as a travel blogger, and you can also check that out if you're very fond of traveling. Her handle is by the name of Drifter Planet. Thank you so much for joining us, Sonal, and we're really looking forward to the pictures that you'll be posting in the comment section. Whatever you think would be beneficial for beginners, whatever tips that you'd like to share with us, we'll be very, very happy to receive your images with various asanas, postures, tips in the comment section. And on that note, I would really thank you again for joining us on the live stream on Everything Wellness at NRG Retreat with Tanvi Kapoor, that is airing on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and Alexa. Thank you so much for joining us. And you can also see this live stream, of course, here itself on Facebook, on my handle, on Tanvi Kapoor, the professional Facebook page, and on YouTube, that also goes by the name of Tanvi Kapoor. Thank you so much for joining us. Namaste.
Thanks a lot, Tanvi.
Thank you, Sona.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.